Abandoned for 10,000 years, the Starship chose me at the auction. Born on a dusty mining planet at the edge of the Orion expanse, he spent his days fixing broken engines, scraping together bits of ancient machinery, and dreaming of a galaxy he would never reach. He wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, and he certainly wasn't supposed to touch history. That's why, when the interstellar auction station Haven 9 floated into his sight, Jaren's heart raced. Ships from across the galaxy were docked in the massive orbiting ring, gleaming with new metal and polished to perfection. Each one seemed alive, humming with engines and lights, calling out to potential buyers who could afford them. Most humans here were traders, merchants, and wealthy collectors. People like Jaren were practically invisible. Yet he wandered among the crowds anyway, eyes scanning every corridor and hall. He had come for one reason: curiosity. Most of the ships were beautiful, dangerous, or both. Sleek, black fighters that could outrun a supernova shockwave. Cargo vessels that promised endless trade profits. Luxury yachts with walls of glass showing endless stars. But Jaren's attention was drawn to a corner far from the glitter and fanfare. There, tucked behind a cluster of abandoned crates, sat a massive starship, coated in dust and rust, barely noticed by anyone. Its metal hull was scratched, its lights dim. The auctioneer called it junk, a relic left from a civilization lost to time. The ship had been abandoned for 10,000 years, a fact whispered among those who bothered to glance at it. Most buyers ignored it, laughing at the idea of an ancient ship with no value. But Jaren felt something, a tug in his chest, a quiet hum he could almost hear. He approached it slowly, touching the cold metal. The ship reacted. A soft vibration ran through the hull. No one else noticed. They continued their laughter and bidding wars, ignoring the hidden marvel. Probably a busted relic, someone said, kicking a crate. No fuel, no engines, nothing. Jaren shook his head. He didn't care what they thought. He ran his fingers along the control panel at the ship's entrance. Ancient symbols glowed faintly under his touch. Then suddenly, a hidden docking bay door hissed open as if the ship recognized him. He stumbled back. The auctioneer squawked, "Hey, that's not part of the lot, step away." But Jaren didn't move. Curiosity had become determination. The ship's bay waited silently, open and inviting. It was almost alive. Jaren climbed inside. Dust rose around him, sparkling in the soft emergency lights. The interior was enormous. Ceilings high enough to hold two men stacked atop one another. Panels and machinery that hummed faintly as if just waiting for someone who knew how to wake them. Then the voice came. Not a human voice, not a speaker's sound. It was inside his head, soft and ancient, yet unmistakably aware. "Who are you?" Jaren whispered. "I am," the voice paused. "I am awake, but only you can hear me." Jaren froze, his hands trembled. This was impossible. Ships didn't talk. They didn't choose humans, but this one had. The ship's main control room flickered to life. Holographic maps appeared, showing sectors of space that no human had charted in centuries. Stars Jaren had only read about in dusty history books glowed on the panels. Strange symbols moved across the screen, pointing to a hidden corner of the galaxy. Why me?" he asked, heart pounding. The ship pulsed. "Because you are human. Only humans can awaken me. Only humans can understand." Jaren swallowed hard. He had no idea what that meant, but something deep in his chest told him he was about to change everything about his life. The auction announcement blared in the station. "Next item, prepare your bids." People pushed past, laughing at him, ignoring the ship. But Jaren had made up his mind. He had no money, he had nothing, but the ship had chosen him. He placed a bid anyway. It was his entire savings. The auctioneer laughed. "You, for this relic, are you insane?" Jaren didn't answer. His hand was steady. The bid was accepted. Silence fell for a brief moment, then a murmur ran through the crowd. No one had expected a human nobody to win. The ship vibrated beneath him like a heartbeat. It wasn't just a prize, it was alive, recognizing him as its pilot. Once the auction ended, the shadowy interests that controlled much of the galaxy began to stir. A small group of men in black suits watched the transaction on a distant monitor, eyes narrowing. They had been tracking this ship for centuries. It held power that could change the balance of the galaxy, and it had now chosen a human. Inside the ship, Jaren explored the chambers, rooms that seemed larger on the inside than the outside, hallways that twisted and shimmered with energy. Libraries of holographic data filled with knowledge lost to time. Ancient tools and machines lay scattered, waiting for human hands to awaken them. The ship spoke again, this time showing images. Stars collapsing, civilizations rising and falling, signals from a hidden system only the ship could reach. You will need courage, you will need ingenuity, you will need, the voice hesitated. Jaren felt both fear and excitement. Fear because he had no training for what lay ahead. Excitement because he had always known he was meant for more than this dusty planet. For hours, he wandered through the Starship, touching panels, examining strange devices, feeling the hum of life inside its engines. It was overwhelming. He was scared. He was thrilled. And he was utterly alone except for the ship itself, which seemed to watch him with quiet anticipation. As the first night fell on Haven 9, Jaren decided to test the ship, a small maneuver in the docking bay. Nothing dangerous, just a flicker of the controls. The ship responded instantly. Lights brightened. Engines thrummed softly. Systems that had not been active for 10 millennia sprang to life. Jaren realized that the ship was reactive. It learned, adapted, and listened to him. Then came the first message from the galaxy, a distress beacon from a nearby sector. Not urgent, just a small call for help. But it was enough to show Jaren that the ship wasn't just a relic. It could fly, navigate, and perhaps even protect those in need. And that's when the shadows arrived. Unmarked ships appeared outside the docking bay, hovering silently. They belonged to the Galactic Consortium, those who monitored ancient tech and ensured that nothing dangerous fell into the wrong hands. They had tracked the auction, waiting for this moment, and now Jaren held the key. He looked at the ship. Its lights pulsed as if it knew what was coming. "Are you ready?" he whispered. The ship responded with a single hum. The docking bay doors opened wider, revealing the stars beyond. Not just the station, not just the safe orbit, the galaxy itself. Jaren swallowed hard. He had no weapons, no allies, nothing but this ancient starship and his own wits. Yet for the first time in his life he felt powerful. He stepped forward, leaving the station behind. The stars welcomed him, endless and brilliant, whispering of adventures he could never have imagined. The shadow ships moved closer. But the starship, abandoned for 10,000 years, had finally awakened, and it had chosen its human. Jaren took a deep breath. His life had changed forever. The journey had begun. The stars stretched endlessly before Jaren Hale, glittering like jewels scattered across black velvet. The station Haven 9 disappeared behind him, just another speck in the void. His hands were still shaking from the auction, and yet, for the first time in his life, he felt alive. The ship's interior hummed softly, a comforting vibration that ran through his chest. Its AI spoke in faint pulses of thought rather than sound now, images flashing across the main console, maps of unknown star systems, symbols older than human memory, lines connecting planets, stations, and space anomalies that Jaren couldn't recognize. "You have awakened me," the voice said. It was calm, measured, yet full of power. "And in doing so, you have begun something no human has done in 10,000 years. Jaren swallowed. I don't understand. Why me? Why now?" "Because only a human could," the ship replied. "Only a human could navigate what is to come. Others would fail. Others would destroy it." Jaren touched a holographic panel, and suddenly the ship projected a star system bathed in soft green light. Several planets rotated in perfect orbits, their surfaces untouched, pristine. That's beautiful, Jaren breathed. It is more than beauty, the ship said. It is power and knowledge. A civilization once thrived here. Its secrets were lost when my creators vanished. I have waited for someone to awaken them. Jaren realized the weight of what he had stumbled into. This wasn't just a ship. It was a key to something greater than himself. For hours, he wandered the starship, exploring. Some rooms seemed empty but held strange machines, their purpose mysterious. Others were filled with holographic archives of civilizations long gone. Jaren touched a console, and suddenly a figure appeared, a projection of a being he couldn't fully recognize. It spoke in a language older than any human tongue. Yet the ship translated, its voice clear. Knowledge is yours, human, but you must be careful. Others are already watching. Jaren shivered. Who could watch a ship abandoned for 10,000 years? The answer came faster than he expected. As the ship navigated into open space, sensors picked up incoming vessels. 4 ships, black as the void, silent but deadly, appeared on the scanners. The galactic consortium had followed him. They want me, Jaren muttered. They want this ship. They always want what they cannot control, the ship replied. They do not understand it. You will. Jaren ran to the cockpit, his fingers moving instinctively over controls he had never seen before. Lights blinked, engines thrummed, and shields shimmered into existence. The consortium ships moved closer, firing warning pulses. Jaren froze for a second, then remembered something, a panel deep in the engineering deck. Wait, he said to the ship. Can you do what I think you can? The ship pulsed with energy. Only if you can guide me, trust your instincts. Jaren took a deep breath. He manipulated the controls, not with knowledge but with intuition. The ship responded. Hulls shimmered, engines warped light around them, and in an instant they slipped past the consortium ships as if they had vanished from space itself. Did we? Jaren gasped. Yes, the ship hummed. But they will try again, and next time they will be smarter. You must learn to guide me, human. You must awaken my full potential. For days, Jaren practiced. The ship was strange, almost alive. Sometimes it resisted, sometimes it anticipated his thoughts. But slowly he began to understand. It could bend spacetime in small ways, warp trajectories, and even sense dangers before they happened. No human ship in the galaxy could do this, except this one. During one late cycle, as Jaren studied the star maps, the ship projected an image of a system deep in uncharted space. A single star burned blue and white, with a cluster of planets orbiting it. One of them was highlighted, glowing faintly. That's it, the ship said. The system holds what we seek, but it is not unguarded. Others have left protections, dangers from before my creators vanished. Jaren leaned closer. The idea of a hidden system, ancient and untouched, thrilled him. He was nervous, yes, but the ship seemed to trust him completely. And for the first time, he trusted himself. The journey toward the system was not easy. Asteroid belts, radiation fields, and gravitational anomalies forced Jaren to push the ship to its limits. Each challenge taught him something new. The ship reacted to his creativity. When he improvised a risky maneuver to avoid a collapsing asteroid, the ship hummed in approval. When he found a way to navigate a deadly radiation storm, it pulsed brighter, almost like a heartbeat. And then, after days of travel, they approached the outer edge of the hidden system. "What's that?" Jaren whispered. The ship projected a hologram. A massive structure floated near the star, a relic from an age long forgotten. Rings of metal twisted in strange shapes, forming a defensive lattice. Energy pulses danced around it like a living barrier. "Protections," the ship said, "left by those who feared what my creators built. Only a human mind can guide me through." Jaren felt his pulse quicken. They were entering territory untouched for 10,000 years. The excitement was overwhelming, and yet he sensed danger too. "Are they alive?" he asked, though he suspected the answer. "Not alive," the ship said, "but still dangerous. Misguided and programmed to destroy intruders." Jaren nodded. His hands moved over the controls, heart pounding. The structure loomed closer. Energy pulses shot toward them. Shields held. Jaren's mind raced, combining instincts and lessons he had learned over days of travel. With a sudden twist of the controls, they slipped between the pulses. The ship seemed to anticipate his thoughts, bending and warping in ways Jaren could not fully understand. They emerged on the other side, inside the system. Jaren let out a long breath. He had done it. He had guided the Starship past the first real trial, but the Galactic Consortium was not done. Long-range sensors picked up their vessels approaching faster than any normal ship could travel. They had anticipated his path. They were relentless. "You cannot outrun them forever," the ship said. "You must fight, you must be creative, you must think like a human." Jaren smiled faintly. Finally, the ship's words made sense. It wasn't just a machine. It thrived on human ingenuity. Every move he made, the ship learned. Every solution he found, the ship adapted. They were partners, united by instinct, curiosity, and courage. And humans, Jaren realized, had something no machine or alien could replicate: the unpredictable spark of creativity. He prepared for confrontation. Using the ship's ancient energy systems, he created a series of illusions, projections, and energy pulses. The consortium ships fired blindly, unable to predict his movements. Jaren laughed, adrenaline surging. They were fast, they were deadly, but they were not human. They could not think as he did. In the chaos, Jaren realized something profound. The ship had not been abandoned. It had been waiting for a human capable of awakening it, guiding it, and wielding its power responsibly. Finally, after hours of maneuvers, the consortium ships retreated, forced to acknowledge defeat. Jaren and the ship were alone in the hidden system. Silence returned, broken only by the hum of the engines and the heartbeat of the ship. "You are learning," the ship said. "And soon you will face what I was built to protect, the lost star system, the secret of the ancients." Jaren nodded. He felt tired, yes, but more alive than he had ever felt in his life. For the first time, he believed in his own worth. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and beautiful, and he was no longer a nobody. He was chosen. As the ship guided them deeper into the system, Jaren studied the planets. One, larger than any in his memory, glowed faintly with strange energy. Signals bounced from its surface, echoes of an ancient civilization. "That's it," he whispered. "That's what we've been looking for." The ship pulsed in response, almost as if it was smiling. Together, human and Starship, they were about to uncover secrets lost for 10,000 years. Jaren Hale stared at the planet below, its surface glowing with a faint, unearthly light. The atmosphere shimmered with colors he had never seen before. Mountains twisted like glass spires, rivers glowed with phosphorescent energy, and in the distance, structures half buried in the land hinted at a civilization lost to time. The ship pulsed softly beneath him, sensing his awe. "We have arrived," it said. "This is where the secret lies, the heart of what my creators built, the power to restore or destroy. You must be careful, human." Jaren nodded. He had come this far, guided by instincts, courage, and the mysterious bond with the Starship. He knew now that this was no ordinary mission. The ancient civilization had left behind technology far beyond anything in the modern galaxy, and it was not meant to be controlled by just anyone. The descent to the planet was delicate. The ground itself seemed alive, as if it recognized their approach. Towers of metal and crystal spiraled skyward, humming with energy. When Jaren landed, the ship's lights reflected off the smooth surface, illuminating carvings and runes that glowed faintly. "This place, it's beautiful," Jaren whispered. His eyes traced the patterns on the ground, symbols he could not fully understand, yet somehow felt familiar. "Beauty is only one part," the ship replied. "These structures protect something far greater. They guard the core. You must proceed carefully. One wrong step could awaken defenses you cannot overcome." Jaren took a deep breath and stepped out. The air was breathable but tingled with energy. Every movement seemed amplified, every sound clearer. He felt both small and powerful at the same time. As he approached the central structure, a massive pyramid of glass-like metal, the energy grew stronger. Lights danced along its edges, projecting images of stars, planets, and strange creatures. It was a record, a history of the civilization that had built this system. And then he saw it, the heart. Inside the pyramid, a sphere floated above the ground, surrounded by a lattice of energy. Pulses of light traveled along the lattice, connecting distant planets in the system. This was the power the ship had spoken of, a network of energy capable of restoring life, rebuilding civilizations, or destroying worlds. Jaren stepped closer. The sphere responded to him, expanding faintly, as if recognizing his presence. The ship spoke softly in his mind. "This is the choice, human. Use it wisely. You can restore what was lost, give life to those who have fallen, or claim it for yourself. But you must decide." Jaren felt the weight of the moment. The galaxy had always been indifferent to humans, cruel at times, chaotic and dangerous. And yet here he stood, holding a power lost for 10,000 years. Suddenly, the ship pulsed urgently. Sensors detected movement outside. The galactic consortium had arrived. Their ships descended from orbit, weapons charged, eyes on the prize. "They are not here to help," Jaren said, his voice steady despite fear. "No," the ship agreed. "They want to take what they do not understand, and if they fail, they will destroy it." Jaren ran to a console near the heart of the pyramid. Symbols danced under his fingers as he tried to interface with the system. The sphere responded, vibrating with energy, waiting for his choice. The first wave of consortium troops landed. Mechanical drones advanced toward the pyramid, scanning for weaknesses. Jaren thought fast. He didn't have soldiers, he didn't have weapons, but he had human creativity, and the ship was with him. "Ready?" he asked the ship. The ship pulsed. "Always." What followed was a dance of ingenuity. Jaren used the pyramid's energy to create illusions of duplicates, hiding the sphere from the drones. He warped small fields of gravity to confuse them, making them stumble and misfire. The ship anticipated every move, amplifying his actions, bending light and energy in ways no ordinary human could imagine. The consortium faltered. Their weapons malfunctioned. Their drones crashed into invisible barriers. And through it all, Jaren guided the power, careful not to damage the heart itself. Hours passed. The battle raged, but slowly, the tide turned. The consortium realized they could not win against a human and a 10,000-year-old starship working together. They retreated, leaving Jaren standing in the glowing light of the pyramid, heart pounding. He looked at the sphere again. The decision remained. Jaren reached out. He could feel the energy flowing into him, humming with life. He saw visions of dying colonies, lost planets, civilizations erased by time and war. He could restore them, bring life to the dead stars and lost worlds. But he could also take the energy for himself, become the most powerful being in the galaxy. A memory flashed in his mind. The auction, the starship choosing him, the endless void of stars, the hum of life beneath his hands. The galaxy was not a place for selfishness. Humanity had survived because of curiosity, courage, and cooperation, not greed. He made his choice. The sphere expanded, light spreading through the lattice to every planet in the system. Energy pulsed along ancient channels, restoring ecosystems, reigniting dying stars, and reviving lost colonies. Rivers flowed, trees sprouted, cities rebuilt themselves in fragments, and life returned to worlds abandoned for millennia. Jaren stepped back, overwhelmed by what he had done. The ship hummed proudly, lights bright with approval. "You have chosen wisely," it said. "Humans are unpredictable. You have proven your species is capable of greatness." The galaxy would take notice. Soon, explorers would find these planets thriving again. Civilizations would rebuild, perhaps learning lessons lost to time. and Jaren. He had proven what humans could do when trusted with knowledge and power beyond comprehension. He returned to the ship, exhausted but exhilarated. The starship pulsed as if it had learned from him, adapted to his creativity, and now rested with him as its true partner. Together, they would travel farther than any human or machine had dared before. Yet even in triumph, Jaren knew the dangers were not gone. The galaxy was vast, full of those who would covet power and fear human ingenuity. But for now they had a secret: the lost system revived, a testament to human courage and the starship that had chosen him. He looked out into space, feeling both small and infinite. For the first time, he understood what it meant to be human, fragile, creative, unstoppable when guided by determination. The ship hummed softly, waiting for the next adventure, the next challenge, the next moment where humanity could rise above the galaxy's indifference. Jaren smiled. "Where to next?" the stars answered, glittering with possibilities. And the starship, abandoned for 10,000 years, would always choose a human.